Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the third game in the 2v1 challenge series between Food Please, Fredi and their Vasall. So we saw in the first two games that Food Please basically had no chance of winning at all because the other players were really paid attention and denied all the opportunities of Food Please. Maybe this game something else will happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, the map, as always, it's Nomad. That's the only map in the game right now. Maybe they will add some more maps in the future, but for now, that's the only map, basically. Food Please, who's playing in the red as always, he is the Japanese. I would say a good civilization for Nomad because of the fishing ship bonus and also because lumber camps, mining camps cost less wood, so they have more wood to create more fishing ships. So the bonuses go hand to hand there, so it's a good civilization overall. In the blue, we have Fredi, who is playing as the Malay. And I think Malay, great civilization on Nomad, good water sieve, and they also have a lot of options overall. Then finally, Vasall has not dropped the town center yet. What is he doing? He has the Tatars, so that much we know. Now finally dropping the town center, a little bit, should drop it closer to the wood line, I think, so there's basically just two trees right next to the town center. Would have loved to see it at least one tile over here, but overall it's fine. At least he has some access to wood, he has some food over here, some berries, so let's see what these players can do. Let's look at the point of view of Food Please. So how much does he know? So he is scouting around his town center with the sheep, as you should do in Nomad or in any game, basically. And he knows that he lost his sheep over here, so that's good for him because now he knows that his opponents are around this area. Now we see some early aggression on water. I have some issues here with the mouse. Okay, finally the game is reacting. And Food Please is basically walled in. Oh, I'm on view log, that's why. I'm sorry. I accidentally must have activated this. Food Please is being walled in here at his dock, but for now I don't think he minds too much because it means that Fredi has to waste a lot of wood on these houses, and still Food Please is not even walled in there. He could just delete this one palisade and just march on out right now. So it's a cute move, but overall I don't like it. Now he's even abandoning this attempt here, and yeah, that was basically useless. Didn't even finish the house to get more population space. So overall, a terrible move here by Fredi. He achieved nothing with this. He wasted a lot of wood, wasted a lot of villager time, and basically achieved nothing because Food Please is happily fishing away. He doesn't mind. He's like, okay, I fish away, and then in the end I can just escape here, no problem. So I don't know what Fredi is thinking, and yeah, I know why, because he doesn't have a dock up yet. And I wonder why. As the Malay, you should always go for a dock in the early game. And now he doesn't have the dock. He doesn't have the wood to immediately build a fishing ship either. At least he is taking food to at least create some villages. But look at this, Food Please already at 12 villagers, and the other players, Fredi only at 9 and Vasall only at 8 villagers. So what is happening to those players? Maybe they're getting overconfident over here. So Food Please right now not in a bad position. He's just happily producing away, getting a lot of wood. I think the pro players at this point start to transition to food, but I don't think it makes much of a difference. He will be able to constantly produce from the dock, at least, is Food Please. Although he's neglecting that at this point, so he has over 200 food and he's wood, and he's not producing any fishing ships, so kind of a misstep over here, and that's why I think the pro players transition to food a little bit earlier, because now he has 2 fishing ships basically in the queue. but he had some idle time on his town center. But it's only like the very fine details. We all know that Fredi is a very good nomad player overall, so this is just like some minor details he can improve if he wants to climb up the ladder even further. So what else is happening? Fredi still solid 3 villager lead compared to the other players. So far no crazy laming, no crazy wall-in, except for this failed wall-in over here. So basically the players are just happily coexisting. What a bad dock position as well here. The villager has to walk. It's only like a few tiles, but he has to walk to reach the dock and drop off the food, and that's some accumulated idle time of the villager. So those are also some finer details you can work on. Drop your dock right next to the shore fish. So now Fredi, he knows he needs to find his opponents. He needs to do some early damage in this game while he's bringing in the second rhinoceros. So he is starting to drop houses and outposts. And one thing to keep in mind, so outposts in Dark Age not too great in terms of line of sight, but still they grant you permanent vision. And once you get the upgrades, so Town Watch and then maybe later on Town Patrol, although we see that rarely, you get a huge line of sight with these outposts, and you even get a lot of line of sight with houses. So it actually makes sense on Nomad especially to drop some random houses across the map while your villagers are walking. So for instance, this villager is now in this moment breaking free, and now you see how useless and stupid the wall offer of Fredi was. So this villager, so basically 0 damage taken by Fredi and a lot of damage taken by Fredi because this wood is blocked, he's not using it, it's not even creating population space. So I don't know what he was thinking there. But coming back to the original point, so with this villager, he might just drop a random house over here, so that keeps this villager busy, if the house is necessary at least. And later on it will give him some vision of this corner of the map. Meanwhile, Vasall having some idle villagers over here, which are trying to finish the wall off, but I suspect Fredi will just slip right through the hole over here. There's always a hole. It's a little bit better nowadays with most people using small trees and also the grid, but here it's difficult to spot, to be honest. So can't really blame Vasall, but he should really fix his economy and fix the idols. Now in the meantime, Fredi going up to Fuel Age, Fredi also going up to Fuel Age, but Fredi has a massive 7 villagers advantage over the other players, and I'm wondering what they are doing. And now Fredi also, he is going for gold quite happily, and heavily, I think he wants to go for some kind of fast castle strategy. And yeah, and then just come in with knights maybe, and do a lot of damage. Because I think he will get a lot of resources from his fishing ships. So he has 9 fishing ships over here, and I think that's enough to propel him to the castle age immediately. He also has quite a bit of wood backed up, so he can then drop the necessary buildings, which I think he will be doing right away once he notices that he has hit the next age. And now we can compare the line of sight of outposts, which actually increases with reaching the feudal age. So I didn't know that. Interesting stuff there. And now with Town Watch research, you see that these outposts grant such a huge line of sight, and even the houses are not too shabby, granting these 3 or 4 tiles, it's probably 4 tiles of vision around them. So very nicely done there. So now Fredi is realizing that he needs to drop the second building, and there's a rare interaction where you actually need to build a mill first before you can drop a market. And so he was probably like, I want to drop the market, but I can't. Oh yeah, I need to drop the mill first, and now he can drop the market. So a little bit of a delay there on his potential castle age timing. And also he needs a little bit more food, to be honest. So actually a little bit, he has a little bit too little food and a little bit too much gold, but he can probably just then spend some gold, buy some food. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's doing there, and so he will be up in no time. In the meantime, Fredi catching up a little bit to Fredi in terms of villager number. And Vasall now doing his typical, not producing strategy. So he is at 23 villagers, and he's just not producing anymore. And that's something he really needs to fix. He's also getting wheelbarrow, and that's really not worth it if you only have 23 villagers and some of them are fishing ships. I presume at least, yeah, he has some fishing ships. It's not at all worth it to get wheelbarrow at this point. You should just pump out the villagers, because for those of you who don't know, the time to research wheelbarrow is actually the same time you need to produce 3 villagers. So instead of having wheelbarrow, you could have had 3 more villagers, and that's, oh god, using the weak villager to get the rhino. Oh, what a disaster. Oh, that's so painful over here. But one thing I like from Vasall is his aggression on water. He is attacking the fishing ships of Food Police. However, Food Police is the Japanese, so his fishing ships are basically invincible. You see how little damage the fire galley does to the fishing ships. So the fishing ships are like, well, I don't care. I mean, let's just get away. And now we might see some fire galley action over here. So in terms of fire galley, there is no real difference between those two. So they should be. I think that Vasall is slightly in the lead. However, the second fire galley, Food Police, is coming in now, and yeah, the water aggression has been defended by Food Police. Now, Food Police almost up to Castle Age. We talked about him going for kind of a fast castle build. He now also has a stable the barracks. He's getting bloodline, so he is getting ready to pounce. And now we see this kind of scared strategy of the team Fredi and Vasall. I mean, look at this. What are those walls? I mean, yeah, you're securing your side of the map, but you're 2v1. You shouldn't be doing that. And also, we established there's a hole over here. This wall off is not finished. Wall off is not finished over here. I mean, it might be in time, but there might be more holes over here. For instance, there might be a hole behind the barracks. So, well, then it's useless. If you have a wall and there's even a single tiny hole, such as this one, then the complete wall off is useless almost. I mean, not completely useless, but pretty useless. And so I think the knights which are coming out right now will be devastating. And look at this small group of a few archers and spearmen. They're just way too late. They're not going to do much. I mean, it's feudal age aggression, but your opponent is already well in castle age. So the timing is just way off for Fredi and Vasall. And so I think they now need to go up to the next age. They need to use every trick in the book to get up to the castle age. I mean, Fredi does have the resources. However, okay, I need to switch the map back to the original state. But yeah, he is only now clicking up, and his opponent already has a scary amount of knights out on the field, and the spearmen, well, they can do a little bit of damage, but they're probably not gonna even kill a single knight. And now this Feudal Age army is down. Food Police already having +1 defense. He has the bloodlines, and he can easily run in through one of the holes, or he can just batter down one of those gates or house. And now look at this. This is such a Vasall move. Why are you doing this? This is completely useless. I mean, it just wastes so much stone here, and what does it accomplish? Nothing, because your opponent can just run over here and kill all your villagers. Because walling, it has been nerfed quite a lot in Definitive Edition, so it takes a lot longer than before. So basically walling like this is completely useless. Why not just put a single piece of stone wall over here and a single piece of stone wall over here and just mine with 3 villages? I mean, it's not perfect, but then the knights can never do anything. And now you have to run back all the way, and now the villagers even guide the knights of Food Police through the hole in the wall. I mean, it's not like there's another hole over here, and it's a complete disaster for the team Fredi and Vasall. I mean, they're behind in technology. only now Fredi which has reached Castle Age, and he's going for Spearmen and Archers of all things. You need so many upgrades, and yeah, look at this. Now all the walling is completely useless. He needs to do some back walling over here, which takes such a long time, and in the end the knights can still just run in and do a lot of damage, and he only has Spearmen. He doesn't even get the upgrades. Instead of like going just for a couple of knights to be able to defend, or even elephants. Why not just elephants? I mean, they're slow, but they can at least defend from the knights. In the meantime, the fishing eco of Food Priest is basically untouched. There is no fishing eco left for any of the other players, basically. So Food Priest looking very strong in this game, and yeah, okay, those are enough spearmen to I think kill the knights, but they can just run past spearmen and do some more damage. I mean, there surely are some weak villagers some here, so if he's playing, well, surprisingly little weak villagers, but maybe the knights will find, yeah, one more villager pick before they will go down. Maybe another archer pick, or maybe even, yeah, just annoy your opponent, just keep them busy and keep them producing trash units while you're safe at home, while you're booming up. And booming up he does. Look at this, Vasall, still 23 villages. You need to produce. You need to produce all the time. Keep your town center busy. And yeah, because otherwise you don't have the strength, you don't have the necessary resources to challenge your opponent. And yeah, now we see the same thing over here by Vasall. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a good strategy. Oh, I'm just gonna wall in my gold miners over here. But even just 2 knights can just easily bust through here and then kill all the villagers. So it's basically a useless wall off. And look at how long it takes to actually get there. And here you see that one-on-one spearman cannot fight a knight, and so this knight is basically can now slaughter all of these villagers. So here instead what you should do is, as I mentioned, just place one tile of wall over here, maybe a house over here, and a tile of wall over here, and then you can easily mine and be safe. And now we have the problem with the unit choice. Fredi which spreading his resources thin. He does now have the pikemen at least, but pikemen have no upgrades because he also invested into crossbowmen with fletching, which have been slaughtered by the knights. And so he really cannot afford all of this at the same time. Meanwhile, Food Please now on a couple of town centers. If we jump to his point of view, he has 2 town centers at least, and he is going up in population, 47 population to 41 of Fredi which Vasall now finally getting a few more villages out, and look at this disaster wall off. I mean, it's not even closed, so it's basically the same as not walling at all. And now those players look at what they're doing. They're confining themselves to like small portions of the map, like this one, this compartment, and I think Food Please will basically find this. And if he is paying attention, he might be able to then find a lot of villager kills over here. Now he's running into the spearmen, but he can just kill the spearmen. Why not? Who cares? I mean, the spearmen are basically trash. They don't have any upgrades, and the knights can just kill all of them, and now they can just bust in through the palisades and kill all the gold miners if Food Please so desires. So basically the only thing Food Please needs to do now is mass his units, take one decisive engagement, and then engage with siege. Now here he's taking quite a few losses, quite a lot of damage on his knights, but overall I think the knights will still win because one-on-one they are just stronger than the pikemen, especially if they like upgrades. And so now Fredi which again, he has nothing. He has just a couple of crossbows. Crossbows don't do anything against +2 knights. At least in these very low numbers. So instead he should have just gone for full-on pikeman defense, or his own knights or battle elephants, as we have established. And now Food Please can just, he has again cleaned up the army of Fredi which he is now finding. Is it a hole there? I'm not sure if there's a hole, probably not. But it almost looks like a hole, but he can now pressure the walls of Fredi which, and now he is bringing in the siege. He still has his knights over here. Now finally his fishing ships are being attacked by the fire galleys, but as I mentioned, Japanese fishing ships so tanky, so it takes a long time to actually kill them, and also they have basically fished out all the riches from this Eastern Ocean over here. Overall, I have to say, it looks pretty bad for Team Fredi and Vasall overall. I mean, still, they have a shot here. They can, if they are able to defend from the push, which will be coming in now, they have a chance. However, Fredi, you cannot move out, you have nothing. Your opponent, you know that your opponent has a big number of knights. So what are 4 pikemen and 4 crossbows going to do? They are going to do nothing. And I don't know why you're investing in crossbowmen at all at this point. It doesn't make sense. Just produce a counter unit, and your opponent or your teammate should do the same. And then you can maybe defend from the knights, kill the knights, and then you can transition to a different unit. But at the moment, they have nothing. And yeah, if you look at the village number, now Fupli is falling a little bit behind because he is pumping up the knights that cost a lot of food. So that's why his name is Food Please, because his plays usually require a lot of food. Fredi having 60 villagers, but Vasall only 27. Like, why are you not producing? Just produce more villagers. Create extra villages, as the taunt would say. And now we have this, oh yeah, it's a cute army. Surely this is gonna be enough. But look at the amount of knights, scorpions, and mangonels. And the scorpions counter the pikeman, the mangonel just counters the crossbowman, and we're gonna see that here. Also, players should use patrol instead of clicking a specific unit, although we have to say that Food Please is not taking an optimal engagement here because his knights are not attacking, but still, he just cleaned up the army of Fredi with ease, and now again, he still has army. Fredi doesn't have army because he moved out without any reason. Instead, he should have just focused on stone, dropped the defensive castle, built up his numbers, and Food Please will be able to just break in here. He has 4 scorpions now, so the pikemen won't be a threat anymore. And soon, I think it's the end for Fredi, and Vasall is not in a position to do anything. He has 29 villagers. He has just a few measly pikemen, which are getting cleaned up by this rogue group of knights over here, which have just been standing around, but still they're able to do so much damage. They've been killing 5 pikemen or whatever, and that's just the strength of knights. They're just stronger than pikemen. And now look at this, a panicked castle. But what is this castle? The castle is blocking the wood line of Fredi. It's not really protecting the TC because it can be reached from this side. And it might not even go up if Food Please pays attention here. And yeah, it does go up finally, so good on Fredi, but his economy is in shambles. He only has 52 villages left. And he needs to diversify his strategy, because so far he is just losing all of his numbers. Now the scorpion control could be a little bit better, but nothing too much to criticize here. And look at this villager bumping over here. What a terrible thing to see, and you probably garrisoned one of those pikemen. So in this case, you should just use the hotkey to send your villagers back to work, which is by default, I think, the F hotkey, and that way only the villagers come out and go back to their respective work. And now these knights can just, or have already broken through the house wall, and they can run in and cause some more havoc. Now finally, some pikemen of Vasall are coming in. But again, they're not able to clean up the knights. The numbers are just too low. The knights have all the upgrades they need, and so the pikemen, while they're cost-effective in terms of gold efficiency, they cannot fight the knights one-on-one. So if you have enough knights, your opponent is not going to be able to do anything. Looking at the queue, we see there's the queue is empty for Fuplis, but the queue is also empty for Vasall. And Vasall still only at 29 villagers, and basically that means it's basically now a 1v1. If you look at the amount of villages those players have, Surely it might be 90 to 71 overall. But that's not too big of a difference. And so Fuplis managed to actually solidify his position in this game so much that he is able to compete against 2 players. And now here again, Fredinovic, he is making the same mistake once again. He is moving out. Why are you moving out? Your forces are super weak. You know your enemy has scorpions. You probably don't have redemption. And that way, especially if you don't pay attention, yeah, you're just gonna lose everything. And you don't waddle back with your monks. You at least need to try to get some conversions there. But yeah, now the monks are completely useless. You have to send them back, because they cannot do anything against the siege weapons. Although, as I say that, redemption is actually on the way, so that's kind of cute. And now, fighting for water. Vasall is fighting for water, but I think it's it's way too late. I mean, Fuplis has been ousted from water, but Vasall has over-invested into water at this point in the game. They must realize that a big push is going to come in. And once Fredinovic loses this position, I think it's gonna be very tricky for the team of Vasall. And Fredinovic, as Vasall is still only at 29 villagers. How are you not producing more villagers? Is this a challenge that you have to fulfill to get some new icon, or what is this? So Fuplis in a very good position over here. Still has some knights roaming around, has some villagers over here, and now look at all these moves that the player or the team of Fredinovic and Vasall have done, which now look completely stupid. It makes you look like an idiot. Look at the stone wall. Makes you look like an idiot. Look at these weird in-between walls. Makes you look like an idiot. So don't do that. Focus on what's important. Focus on what's working. Yeah, so that's good. Now, Fredinovic, he does have a shot here at defending from this, if he is able to get a lot of good conversions. However, Fuplis now has a scary amount of rams. He is now also in the Imperial Age. He is getting Castran. He is getting two-handed or long swordsman at least against all those pikemen. He has scorpions, and the scorpions can just wreak havoc against all those pikemen. And yeah, the pikemen just going down. And I think that's gonna be the GG soon. That's the GG push that Fuplis has been waiting for. He is now getting the two-handed swordsman upgrade. You have to remember that Japanese infantry attack faster than normal infantry, so they are a lot stronger. And now also the redemption upgrade. Well, he did convert a scorpion, which is good. However, there's just too many long swordsmen, and all the monks will just go down. And I think the siege train is unstoppable at this point in time. The one mangonel of Vasall is not going to do much, and they're calling the GG. Why are they calling it GG? I mean, yes, it might look like GG, but surely it's not GG. You have two players. Even if one player goes down, the other player might be able to do something, but we have seen nothing. No pressure, no aggression. Why not just at least try to put like a castle drop over here? Vasall could have just easily done that. I'm shocked. Look at this, 2,600 gold. Just buy a lot of stone and just do a castle drop. Keep your opponent busy. But yeah, just reaching the 32 villager mark by the end of this game after 47 minutes of game time. What a terrible performance by Fredinovic and Vasall. They were scared, they were like trying to cuddle up in their corner, but they left huge gaps open in their wall, and Fuplis could just do his very standard, I think to be expected strategy of doing going for fast castle kind of build, going into knights, pumping out those knights, and then doing a nice transition into infantry and siege to counter all the pikemen. And well, there weren't even a lot of pikemen left. Look at the military numbers: 15 of their Vasall, 1 of Fredinovic, 33 of Fuplis. And he had the rams, so he would have been able to push further over here. Although I would think still that the GG might have been too early, but looking at the passive playstyle of those players, there was not a lot of life left in them. They were like already broken mentally, and honestly, I don't get Vasall. Like in one game against Gummibear, he is going for double stable knight production. In this game, he's going for idle economy and nothing else. So I don't know if he has multiple personalities, and in one game the noob is playing, in the other game like the tryhard is playing. But this was kind of an underwhelming performance of Vasall, and also Fredi again. He is acting scared. He's also overextending with his army a lot of times, because time is on the side. If you're in a 2v1 situation, time is on your side, because in the late game, even if Fupriest has 200 population, you can have 400 population. So even in a very late game situation, you have a lot better options with 2 players. So, but we have to give it to Fupriest. Great game from him. He managed to get the 2v1 challenge. He managed to win against Fredi and Vasall. Fair and square. No like special Sith matchup or anything. He just won by just playing very nicely and solidly. And so congrats to him for rising up to the challenge and defeating the other players. And one thing I want to mention here in the timeline, so first of all, town centers very late for both Fredi and Vasall. Look at this. Look at the population drop over here. And that already sets you back. And then later on you can see that the amount of villagers of Vasall just is basically keeping constant. So basically his impact on the game becomes less and less and less over time. Yeah, so what a game. What a challenge. I mean, look at this, 32 villages. That's ridiculous. Especially if you're largely untouched, except for a little bit of night raiding, but other than that, largely being untouched. So that I would expect more there in the future. But what a great series, 2v1 challenge. Fupriest demonstrating that it is possible. And so maybe we will see some more challenges in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this one. My name is Peter Host, and I hope to see you soon.